Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 2 of the Renegade of Wrestling. I am your host, JJ Williams, here to bring you my thoughts and opinions on this week in wrestling. First off, big news coming out of Monday Night Raw last week was the initiation of the new Nexus members at the hands of CM Punk and the rest of the Nexus. You had the lashings of Husky Harris. You had the beatdown at the hands of the Big Show for David Otunga. You had the annihilation of Michael McGillicuddy by the rest of the Nexus members. And then it came down to Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel, who did not want to beat each other with kendo sticks, threw them down and walked off. Apparently they had other plans, which we did find out come Friday Night Smackdown. They decided to realign with Wade Barrett to form what for now is being called Nexus B or Nexus Blue. We'll find out probably on Friday what their official name is going to be. But you've got the contingent of CM Punk, Michael McGillicuddy, Husky Harris, and David Otunga now over on Raw. And you've got Wade Barrett, Heath Slater, Justin Gabriel, and Big Zeke, Ezekiel Jackson, over on SmackDown. Now, in some people's opinions, Big Zeke being put as a member of the group may or may not be the best thing for him. Right now, considering that he's been out of action for so long and they haven't really known what to do with him, my opinion is putting him in this new Nexus contingent is a very good thing, because at least they've got something for Big Zeke to do at this point in time. I've been comparing Big Zeke to Ahmed Johnson for a while, even though a lot of people tell me that Ahmed Johnson was a lot clumsier, was a lot more botchy, if you will, in his moves, always hurting people. But in my opinion, Big Zeke has the same look, almost everything that Ahmed had, except Big Zeke is better. Over in TNA, all the titles apparently changed hands at Genesis, with the exception of the Divas titles, the Knockouts titles. Madison kept her belt over Mickie James, and the Knockouts tag team titles weren't even defended on the pay-per-view. But once they got defended on Impact this past week, Angelina and Winter, still your Knockout champions. But you've got Mr. Anderson now as your new TNA World Champion. You've got Kazarian as the X Division Champion, Abyss as the TV Champion, and Beer Money for what seems like their 100th tag team title run as the tag team champions. Immortal is definitely coming up over in TNA. My question is, who's going to be able to stop them? We found out on Thursday that there is a new They that's going to be coming on February 3rd. They are coming for Immortal. There's a lot of speculation that the Main Event Mafia is going to return. But what for? I mean, granted, they need a new stable to feud with Immortal, but my thought process is to get together a bunch of the rogues that are still lingering around TNA or that have since been released from TNA and get them back together to help beat down Immortal. Get your guys like Samoa Joe. Rehire Christopher Daniels. Bring in the Motor City Machine Guns, since they just lost the straps to Beer Money. And get yourself a nice little stable of tried and true TNA guys to battle these guys. Don't bring back the Main Event Mafia. Maybe throw a guy like Kurt in there to lead them, because you've got Jarrett on the other side. But do we really need Scott Steiner, Booker T, Kevin Nash, all these old guys back in TNA again? I really don't think so. Over on SmackDown, aside from the Nexus, not really much going on, but we did find out on Monday Night Raw, Shawn Michaels, the first inductee in the class of 2011 WWE Hall of Fame. Way to go, Shawn. Ever since the screw job, I have not been the biggest Shawn Michaels fan in the world, but you know what? All BS aside, Shawn Michaels deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. The fact that he's a first ballot contender, I think, says a lot about his work ethic. Some people say it's too soon. And for those people that say that Shawn going in is too soon, I've got two words for you. Eddie Guerrero. No disrespect to the deceased. Viva la raza. I love you, Eddie. But the dude got inducted 5 months after he died. That was a little bit too soon. And not only did he get inducted 5 months after he died, they turned it into a storyline. Because Rey Mysterio won the Royal Rumble. Rey Mysterio won the title at WrestleMania. Rey Mysterio was wearing different colored Eddie Guerrero armbands to accessorize with his tights. They turned his death into a gimmick. You want to talk about too soon? Eddie Guerrero, once again, no respect to the dead, I think got inducted just a little bit too soon. Not that he didn't deserve it, but they could have maybe waited a couple years till like WrestleMania 25, I think it was, when WrestleMania came to the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. Since Eddie was from El Paso anyways, could have maybe waited till that. Something the SoCal people here have on TV to watch. I don't know how many of you watching my show are from SoCal. NWA Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. Really good promotion. The NWA is trying to get back on TV, get back into the swing of things to where they can compete with WWE and TNA. So far, they're off to a really good start. Their champion, the Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, really good heel champion, turning away all comers so far. 2 weeks from now, he gets a shot at Joey Ryan, is going to be taking him on for the NWA title. Joey Ryan, some of you guys on the East Coast may know from Ring of Honor. We know him out here from Pro Wrestling Guerrilla and other small federations. You guys need to check this show out. If you guys can't get KDOC on your TV, look it up online. Go to Google or whatever. Look up NWA Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. You can watch the episodes online. I highly recommend that you guys start taking a look at this. There's a lot of young up-and-coming talent coming out of the SoCal indie scene that are finally getting exposure on television. It's a really good thing. Big news. The last thing I'm going to talk about. Big news today came out over the internet, and that is that this year's Royal Rumble match is going to have not 20 like the first ever Royal Rumble did, not 30 like has been in it every year since, but 40 entrants are going to be in the Royal Rumble. 40. I did a little bit of research. I went on to WWE.com. I looked at their superstar profiles. I went through all the male superstars. I didn't count the women because there's only been 2 in WWE history that have been in the Rumble, Chyna and Beth Phoenix last year. Didn't count the women, but there's 52 or 53 male wrestlers currently not booked in a match at the Rumble. What are you going to do with the other 13 guys? Are you going to find undercard matches for them? Granted, some of them are still out on the injury list, like Evan Bourne. Triple H hasn't been seen really since Sheamus attacked him. Not really sure if he's cleared to come back yet or not. John Cena is currently on the shelf with his injured hip. So there's a couple guys you can automatically erase from that. But the Rumble's always been about surprises too. You know, we had a number of surprise entrants over the years, from Mr. Perfect returning to Haku made his surprise return one year in the Rumble when he was still the WCW Hardcore Champion. There's been a lot of surprises in the Rumble, and by having 40 guys in the Rumble, one, I think it takes away from tradition, because the Rumble has primarily always been a 30-man affair. But where's the room for surprises if you're going to pretty much put in everyone that isn't booked on the undercard? You've only got 2 matches announced right now, Edge versus Dolph Ziggler and Miz versus Orton, which, as I said, leaves about 52 to 53 male superstars. Once you wither out the injured, okay, maybe you get down to about 45 superstars. Unless you put those guys in matches on the undercard, you're still leaving people out of the Royal Rumble. I understand your rosters have been beefed up so much lately that you need to perhaps beef up the Rumble to find a place for everybody, but everybody doesn't need the payday. You need to go back to 30, reevaluate this in my opinion, go back down to 30, because there's really no room for 40 guys in the Rumble. How many people are going to get in there at a time? In the past we've had anywhere from 10, 12 people in the ring at once. Could you imagine 40 people? Granted, there have never been 30 in the ring at once, unless it's been a standard battle royal, but you're going to have a lot quicker eliminations to be able to get these extra 10 guys in there. And 90-second intervals. This match is going to go on for a while. You're easily looking at an hour-long Rumble with 90-second intervals. Plus the overtime. Once the last person has been introduced, there's still usually about a good 5 to 10 minutes almost to wither down to the final 4, final 3, final 2, final 1. I don't know what their logic is in all this. Maybe as the participants start to get announced in the coming weeks, we'll start to see a little bit of a grander plan that WWE has in store. Till next week, I'm the Renegade of Wrestling, J.J. Williams, and I'll see you then.